Guys, Brian with American Legacy here. We're back and we did a thing today. We went actually out on the water. We got out of the office. It's been heat indexes of 105, 110. We finally got a day in the low 80s and it feels cool out here. So we had to take advantage of it, get on the water a little bit. But what we're gonna do, we gave you the full detail, the full package on the perfect chatterbait bladed jig setup in our last installment. This time we're gonna go with the ideal setup: rod, line, reel, for just a good all-around rod, for an all-purpose hammer that you can use for anything and everything. One of those that you just want to have one in the boat, need an extra rod, and it's going to be able to do whatever you need it to. That's what I've got in my hand, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And let's get into it. So what I've got, let's start with the rod, okay? To me, the rod is the most important part of this equation. The line and the reel, we're pretty flexible on. But when it comes to a rod that's just a jack of all trades, master of none, I want something around a 7-foot medium heavy with a fast action. What that's gonna allow me to do is throw just a very wide range of applications. It's soft enough you can throw a moving bait if you have to. It's stiff enough that if you need to throw something that's a bottom contact bait, something you're dragging, something that you're doing some light isolated flipping with, it can handle that too. And it just gives you a very wide range of baits that you can throw, and it'll handle some of your finesse stuff. Now, obviously, if we're getting into Ned rigs and that type of thing, you're not gonna get one rod to cover everything, but everybody needs these utility type rods in the boat. And I think a 7-foot medium heavy fast is a really good starting point for that. And if your preference is 6'10" or 7'2" or 7'4", that's fine too. There's no problem there. Length, we're a little flexible on. Medium heavy, I think, is a really good place to start. And if you have anything other than a fast action, I think you start to lose some of the versatility. So really recommend the fast action. If that means you prefer an extra fast or even a moderate fast or the harder to find medium fast, you can make that work. But by and large, if I'm picking one, it's gonna be a fast action. Another part of the rod that I want to make sure of, I don't want it to have a super long butt section because that's going to limit, again, your versatility. Let's just get something that's a decent length, comfortable, can hit a variety of applications, a variety of techniques with it. We don't want some giant swim bait handle here, okay? Let's make it reasonable. As far as the rod, that's about all I've got. You just want it to have a nice flex, a nice consistent taper, nothing too crazy. The rod I have here is the G-Loomis GLX 843C MBR, which is that 7-foot medium heavy fast. If you want to have that in a IMX Pro, a GCX, or if you want a totally different brand, an SLX Shimano would be perfectly fine in a 7-foot medium heavy. That's a great option as well for a more budget friendly situation. So that's what I've got. As far as the rod, GLX is pretty special. I can definitely tell you that it's pretty special, but plenty of rods will do it. 7-foot, medium heavy, fast. Moving on to the reel. We just need a good solid workhorse reel, fellas. That's all we're looking for. This is a Shimano Metanium, unbelievable reel, one of my personal favorites. I think the best gear ratio for this is somewhere in the 7-to-1, 7.4, 7.2, whatever it ends up being, that's fine. But I think that gives you the best of all worlds where you can make yourself slow down if you have to, but it's fast enough that you're not going to be limited by a reel that you just can't ever catch up to something if you end up, you know, doing a true power fishing technique. So I think you want a 7-to-1 gear ratio, and you pick your price point here. Whatever fits into your budget is completely fine. What I will say is I don't want a big clunky reel. I'd prefer something that's got a little bit of finesse to it. I would rather have something that is on the lighter side than the heavier side, because these lighter reels are built well enough now that they can do a heavy presentation without busting out the internals to it. But when you get into the heavier reels, it's really hard for them to go the other way and present a lighter bait without causing you headache. So if you have to skew one direction, go towards the lighter, more compact side. Any quality reel will do. I think if you stay in the Daiwa, Shimano, Lew's, Baits, that range, I think those are going to give you your best values. Those are the best quality products on the market, but you can pick your price point. Now, as far as the line goes, I have 14-pound Sunline Super FC Sniper on here. And that's a fluorocarbon line. So there's gonna be one exception, and that's that you don't wanna throw topwater baits with fluorocarbon. So I am definitely limiting myself in that particular aspect. Now, if I wanted to throw a buzzbait, could I do it on fluorocarbon? Absolutely. So I technically have an option there. But day in and day out, I want fluorocarbon on here. Anything that's a moving bait, like a spinner bait, you know, some isolated cover, just kind of flipping a bait out to that, a Texas rig just going down the bank. There's so many applications that 14-pound fluorocarbon will cover. I just think that's the best place you're gonna land. I don't see another option that's gonna be more versatile than that. Now, exceptions, if we're in heavy cover, maybe that becomes 16. If we're in really clear water lakes with very little cover, maybe that's 10 or 12. But for the vast majority of the people watching this, I think if you put 14-pound on a good all-purpose setup, that's gonna get you exactly what you need. Decent amount of distance, plenty of abrasion resistant, not gonna be have too much memory to it. It'll do whatever you need it to just fine, and you're gonna be all right. Guys, we live in a world where there are an infinite number of technique-specific rods. And don't get me wrong, those all have their place. We all want to have 30 rods in our rod box. But there are days when you just need a good all-purpose rod to make sure that you've got all your bases covered. And you might be on a spinnerbait bite, and you might have 2 spinnerbait rods, but you want to have 3. And then all of a sudden, that's where this comes into play. You've got another rod that you can just, it's like the garbage can. You could just throw as much stuff on it as you want. Whatever you need, it's there for you. It's a good one to have in the box. We appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to subscribe down below. All of this gear is available at AmericanLegacyFishing.com. We'll keep kicking these videos out with the perfect setup, rod, line, reel. You guys keep watching. We appreciate it very much.